It's the most bizarre fighting stance I've ever seen, his entire body pressed tightly against the ground, like a predator coiled and ready to pounce. As Pickle lunged, his velocity reached a staggering 250 meters per second. In a flash, Retsukayo was utterly decimated. Just moments ago, Retsukayo had executed a series of seamless combinations, slamming Pickle to the ground and leaving him howling in pain. The doctor was stunned by the sight, yet his concern for Retsukayo only grew, for he had already conducted a thorough physical examination of Pickle. He discovered that the prehistoric man's bone structure was anything but human. The most extraordinary feature was his cervical spine, massive and incredibly robust, mirroring the anatomy of large quadrupedal animals. This led the doctor to a bold conclusion. Before reaching adulthood, Pickle may have lived as a quadruped. At that moment, Retsukayo launched another assault on Pickle. Unbeknownst to him, Pickle evaded with an uncanny low-slung maneuver, then dropping to all fours. He leaned forward, looking every bit like a savage beast. Retsukayo knew a full-throttle charge was coming, though he could have easily evaded the strike. As a master of Chinese martial arts, he refused to back down from this ultimate test of manhood. He took the Benquan stance, the hallmark of Kung Fu, intending to meet his opponent head-on. Simultaneously, Pickle launched himself forward like a projectile. Let's get into a shock. Retsukayo couldn't even finish his move before falling to Pickle's overwhelming speed. Yet Pickle felt no joy in his victory. Instead, he approached Retsukayo with tears streaming down his face. Clearly, he intended to devour this venerable opponent. Watching this, Tokugawa was frantic and rushed in to intervene. But in the next second, a massive slap, packed with heavy force, sent him crashing straight to the ground, accompanied by a primal soul-shaking roar from Pickle. He decisively devoured Retsukayo's right leg. For him, this was also a ritual of farewell. Just as Pickle was about to consume the rest of Retsu, a dose of anesthetic from the doctor knocked him unconscious. Sometime later, Retsukayo woke up in a hospital bed. Staring at his severed leg, his heart was consumed by an overwhelming sense of shame. He had made a solemn vow to let Pickle devour him upon his defeat. Yet here he was clinging to life, even feeling a disgraceful sense of relief for survived. Baki, having received the news, arrived at the ward, staring at the scene before him in disbelief. After hearing the full story, Baki urged Retsukayo not to be so hard on himself, knowing he was never a man to break his word. However, Retsu was still haunted by the outcome, and he claimed he was ready for the consequences, but in truth, he was utterly unprepared. Even his courage was a facade which ultimately led him to deceive his opponent. He would never forget this guilt, but Baki saw things differently. Retsu had offered his life in exchange for his unwavering devotion to the art of combat. This should be seen as a great honor, while the world only sees his martial prowess. His true value lies in his noble and indomitable spirit. I see. A man was urinating in a dark alleyway. A massive hand suddenly grabbed him by the groin and violently dragged him into the trash heaps. After a brief agonizing struggle, the man fell completely silent. In his place stood a towering savage figure, the prehistoric man Pickle. Stepping into modern society for the first time, he was stunned by the city's neon-lit spectacle. Yet his instincts told him that to survive, he would have to adapt to this new world. He began to wander aimlessly, eventually finding himself standing on a busy road. Unfamiliar with traffic, he charged through a red light in an instant. A truck came barreling toward him. The massive impact sent Pickle flying at the same time. The front of the truck was caved in, forming a human-shaped dent. Panicked, the driver rushed to check on Pickle's condition, only to find Pickle standing up completely unscathed. But his eyes quickly locked onto the truck too, and anything that attacked first was a creature, and Pickle wouldn't let it slide. He lunged forward with a devastating rocket headbutt, then gripped the truck with both hands before the eyes of the horrified onlookers. He actually hoisted the massive vehicle right off the ground, though. His sheer grip strength tore the truck's cab clean off. But even that wasn't enough to quell Pickle's primal rage. With a single thunderous stomp, the truck was reduced to nothing but a heap of scrap metal. Suddenly, a savory aroma wafting from the wreckage caught Pickle's attention. It turned out the truck was hauling a massive shipment of meat. Driven by primal hunger, he immediately began to gorge himself on the feast. Meanwhile, Doppo Orochi was demonstrating karate techniques to his students. With a single punch, he shattered a block of ice 2.5 meters thick. Even steel wire was sliced clean in two by his razor-sharp knife hand strike. Such overwhelming power filled his disciples with profound admiration. Just then, he received a phone call from Mr. Tokugawa. Upon hearing that Retsukayo's right leg had been devoured by Pickle, Doppo's expression instantly turned grim and heavy. He relayed the news to Katsumi, who stood frozen in utter disbelief. Listening to his father, he couldn't believe a pinnacle master of Chinese martial arts could be preyed upon and eaten by Pickle right in front of everyone. In that case, if a Karen like me was defeated by Retsukayo, wouldn't I be even more insignificant in Pickle's eyes? Katsumi's world was shaken soon. The news of Retsukayo being eaten spread like wildfire, reaching the ears of every top-tier fighter across the city. Meanwhile, the doctor and Tokugawa discover the breached security door, confirming that Pickle has officially set foot into the modern world. He is a truly massive presence, a legend, the likes of which haven't been seen for eons.